For me, if I'm building a marketing plan, and we do frequently, I'm not saying that we would never do search, but the sequence for me is going to be, let's figure out paid first, because it's going to deliver the fastest results. And that's what I'm interested in. I want to know if something is working, and I want to know if it's working quickly. And I want to be able to put, if there's a return, I want to be able to put it out there fairly fast.
Hey everybody, Roland, Frasier, and Ryan Deiss here with a new episode of Business Lunch. And I don't even know what it's going to be about today because Ryan and I were kicking around three ideas, and he is going to tell us what it's going to be today.
All the pressure is on me. No, I think this one's fun. I was having a conversation, actually. I was having lunch with someone, a business friend, a business acquaintance. Actually, I don't know if you get this. Does your wife ever say, "Hey, I've got a friend who has a business, and I would really appreciate it if you would have coffee with them and help them out"?
You know, I was thinking about that the last time that you told me that happened, and I mean, not really. Not really. But it's more because we're together so much. I feel like it happens kind of live because like it'll be be talking to the person and they'll have an issue, and of course any chance to talk business I'm all in. So but no, I don't really get that because I think maybe our friends are much more the same people.
Well, the best way to get free business advice from me is to be friends with my wife.
Yeah,
That's just kind of how this works. And so yeah, so in
that's the
this
route I
case,
go.
yeah, it works like a charm. Yeah, so this is one of those, like, friend of my wife, friend of mine as well. But they've got a really cool business, and they were asking for help, and so I was happy to go and grab coffee, and just kind of riff on some ideas, help them out some ways they grow. But one of the questions they asked is, they were saying that people have been telling them that they should invest in search marketing. They should invest in organic, that was a thing that they haven't been doing, and they really should be doing. And they're not a local business,
Hmm.
right? And because they're not doing local marketing, because
What
I believe
industry?
if you're doing local, investing in local search absolutely makes a lot of sense. So I want to kind of set that aside, but they're not.
What
They're
industry?
a nationwide business.
Okay.
What were you saying? Sorry, what was that?
What industry?
They have an online school, so they've got basically an online private school
Okay. Well, they
that
came to the right guy.
right. Yeah. So that's kind of their business, online private school. They serve people all over the nation, and they were saying, like, should they invest in search? And my answer, and I'm just curious if you agree, but my answer was no. That I did not feel like, of all the different channels that are out there, if they haven't started yet, that search marketing was the channel that I would necessarily start with today before figuring out the different paid channels. Um, I'm just curious, do you agree, disagree with that?
If it's a startup and the option is paid versus search, it's going to be paid every time for me. So it would be more context I would need as to how long they've been around, what they were doing, that kind of stuff. But it's funny because I kind of came up in search, and then watching all the things that happened moved dramatically away from it. Although still love content marketing, and then when we hired the last CMO that we hired in one of our major businesses about a year or so ago, I watched what he was doing with search, and I was like, oh, that's actually kind of interesting because he's been able to get traction from it where there was none before. I also like search through acquisition of other supporting referring sites that have ranking around lower level search terms that then can kind of leapfrog authority up to you. But it's definitely, to me, like if you were like, we're starting a business and we don't really have much marketing in any area, and we got to do something, I would pick paid every time. And if it was, we have paid that's working right now, I would continue to flesh that out and double down on it until I maxed it out and got in my other paid channels before I would really go to search, except for search paid search for my name, which is not really organic search, it's paid search.
Yeah. And that's kind of where I was too. If you're starting from scratch with a market, it's not the first channel I would go after,
Yeah.
because not only does it take a long time, which is nothing new, it's going to take a little bit longer, but it's just gotten a lot more inconsistent. And this was a belief that I've had, but I felt somewhat vindicated because just today I stumbled across this article, and it's from this website, Growth Memo, so growth-memo.com, and the article's Filter Bubble, if somebody wants to go back and look it up. But really good article. This person clearly knows their stuff, did a fair bit of research. But what they kind of honed in on is that there are three main things that they're saying are why search is not as effective as it once was, and then they kind of suggest a new model that I'll get to. So I'll mention the three things, kind of get your take on it. So thing number one, they said that Google updates have become unpredictable instead of enforcing a straight line, which makes SEO less predictable as a channel. So I kind of saw this and laughed, because I don't ever recall a time when Google updates were hyper predictable. But apparently they're saying that like it's gotten even worse.
Through Panda and Penguin, it's been.
Oh, I remember the Florida update. Yeah, I mean, I remember the Florida update back in 2004, 2005. Yeah, I mean, but apparently it's gotten even worse, and I don't know, even more arbitrary. So they're saying like, even if you think you kind of have it figured out, the updates now, they don't seem to be kind of enforcing or encouraging the same types of behavior. At least in the past, it seemed like the updates were encouraging or reinforcing the same type of good behavior. And now it just sort of seems random. So I can kind of buy that. Thing number two, they're saying that attention is shifting from the open web to social content platforms like YouTube and LinkedIn. I know we've seen this as well. And they kind of quoted this, that 40% of Gen Z use TikTok for search instead of Google. And they said this is not just kind of a minor, issue. This is a generational shift that has taken place. So the youngins out there, even if you manage to crack the Google code, the reality is that that the up and coming generation, they're simply not using Google in the same way that, old farts like us did. They're actually using TikTok as their search engine. And then the third thing is that content platforms really are more about engagement, and that the way that people are using search and the way that search happens is that when they do use search, they're getting their answer right there on the search platform. So it's less about the click out. It used to be that you would go to the search engine, you would find what you wanted by actually clicking on a link and going to the website. Now, not only do people not care about the original source, they're definitely not visiting the original source. And AI is only making this worse, right? We don't care about the original source. What's that?
I say it's AI for me. And now that AI is citing sources, I do find myself going to the sources that are cited by AI, because AI gives me what I want. The search, they just ruined search with ads and manipulation, of the results and things like that, to where it became very inefficient. You search for what you want, and then you've got to go through clicking on 10, 20 different sites to find what you want. And then when you get there, you've got to find it. And also a fair number of those are gated. And I think Google does a terrible disservice by sending you to gated content where you've got the first 3 lines of what you want and the rest is grayed out, and it says do a subscription. How they haven't gotten all of that out is beyond me. But
I agree.
It's
and so
inefficient.
So with all this said, like, for me, if I'm building a marketing plan, and we do frequently, I'm not saying that we would never do search, but the sequence for me is going to be, let's figure out paid first, because it's going to deliver the fastest results. And that's what I'm interested in. I want to know if something is working, and I want to know if it's working quickly. And I want to be able to if there's a return, I want to be able to put it out there fairly fast. Then, now let's get into organic, but let's go organic social first. And so this might come in the form of, depending on where our audience is, maybe it is TikTok, maybe it's YouTube, maybe it is LinkedIn. I want to go wherever they are. And then as a very, very, very distant third from digital marketing channels, it's going to be Google organic, search organic is where I am. So do you agree with that? Is there anything, how would you change the sequence on that?
So say it one more time.
Basically paid, any type of paid, and that could, and I might throw paid search in with that, but some type of paid social, paid search. Second would be organic social. And I would actually say third, I would say develop owned and operated. So let's try to develop a podcast, something internally that we can actually own. So a podcast and a newsletter. So I'd say third for me would be owned media channels. And then fourth would actually be organic search, a content marketing strategy with the purposes of organic search. I would probably put that one fourth in terms of a awareness, traffic, top of funnel traffic strategy.
Yeah, probably after other paid media like radio and television, even, it's just so hard. And if you do all those other things, you're going to get search anyway.
Right.